Hey guys, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. It says we're telling your followers that you're starting the live video. Okay, hurry up. Yay. All right guys, we are about to get started. Happy Tuesday. It is, I lost my date. I think it's like the 23rd or something like that. Tuesday the 23rd, I hope, or the 24th, let me look. How are you guys doing today? Please let me know, put in the comments. Yes, it is the 23rd. So if you guys have not been here before, hello, welcome to Nurse Sam's channel. I am Nurse Sam, LPN, which is a licensed practical nurse, have been so for 7 years. I am 100% dedicated to Nurse Sam right now. I am not bedside. I am making sure that you guys survive and thrive at nursing school and get everything you guys need to flourish and become the amazing nurses you guys can be after you graduate and pass that NCLEX. And I am here to help you do so. So on Thursdays we have like our NCLEX Jeopardy, our like our Jeopardy style review, and on Tuesdays we do the same thing but for the ATI TEAS / the HESI. And today is going to be a special wonderful episode because we are being sponsored by Nurse Hub for this episode. So if you guys have not heard of Nurse Hub, please go on to nursehub.com, follow them on social media at Nurse Hub. They are a great resource for everything TEAS and HESI. So if you are in the pre-nursing school stage and doing everything you can to prepare for entering nursing school, you have to take and pass an entrance exam. Sometimes it might be the ATI TEAS, sometimes it might be the HESI, sometimes it might be the NLN PACS or something like that. So it depends on the state and what the state board wants you to do and whatever the program wants you to take in order to get inside that nursing program. So Nurse Hub is a great resource for everything entrance exam. So TEAS, HESI, and like I said, they're going to be sponsoring this particular episode of TEAS Tuesday. Also, if you download the Nurse Sam app, you can play the rest of tonight's game. So we have about 20 questions that we have for this week, all sponsored by Nurse Hub. So make sure you download the Nurse Sam app to play tonight's TEAS Tuesday game. All those questions have been sponsored by Nurse Hub. So if you like those questions, make sure you check out nursehub.com for more practice, especially for those entrance exams. So let me see what you guys are saying. Let me look and see. Hello. Someone said, does your planner come with stickers? It is not. It does not come with stickers. It just comes with that gold pen and that planner. But that is, people have been asking me for the option of stickers. You guys let me know. I'll take a vote. If you guys want the planners to, in the future, come with stickers, let me know. Let's take a vote on it. And we'll do it that way. Now, as far as HESI and our TEAS, somebody said I have HESI and finals next week. Like HESI, like is it your exit HESI or your entrance? This for TEAS Tuesday, we're gonna do entrance exam stuff. All right. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Remember, if you guys want to follow along with the questions, if you guys want to follow along, especially with the questions and the answers, and to play after tonight's episode of TEAS Tuesday, to go on and play the rest of the questions, make sure you download the Nurse Sam app. It is 100% free. Go to the TEAS prep, and then you can play the mobile Jeopardy game of TEAS Tuesday Jeopardy. It's just a fun review game that we can do for ATI TEAS questions for those entrance exams. All right, so we're going to practice a little bit. I'm going to go through some questions that we have. Once again, these questions have been sponsored by Nurse Hub. So if you like these style questions, make sure you check them out. It is great. It's a great resource for everything TEAS and HESI. Someone said I have my HESI entrance next week. Good. So this will be perfect for you. Make sure you download the app so you can practice with those questions. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you guys have never been a part of TEAS Tuesday or Teas Jeopardy. We usually have about 3 to 5 categories. Today we're going to have 4 categories: math, English, reading, and science. I want to go through a couple of the questions so you guys can get a feel of how we do Teas Tuesdays, and you guys can finish that review once you download the app and finish the rest of the questions for free. So we're going to go ahead. Now we're going to not play in any teams. We're going to play kind of free for all. So I'm going to read the question, I'm going to read the answer choices, and you guys are going to comment the correct or what you think the correct answer is in the answer in the comment bar. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, math, English, reading, and science are categories. Completely new questions from last week, and yes, so it's 20 new questions. A whole new set of new questions from last week. And once again, these have been sponsored by nursehub.com. Make sure you check them out. All right, so let's get our first question. And our first question is going to be, let's do science. All right, so we're going to do science for 200, okay? Which of the following conditions would exhibit an increase in lung compliance? Which of the following conditions would exhibit an increase in lung compliance? Is it 1, bronchitis, 2, lung cancer, 3, emphysema, or 4, asthma? And remember, because this is like Jeopardy style, and you'll be able to see once you download the app, it's like the blue screen, you know, just like true Jeopardy style. So in order to answer it correctly, you have to really put what is before the answer. So if you think the answer is 1, which is bronchitis, your answer would be, what is 1? Okay, so I'm going to read it again just in case. Which of the following conditions would exhibit an increase in lung compliance? 1, bronchitis, 2, lung cancer, 3, emphysema, or 4, asthma? Which of the following would exhibit an increase in lung compliance? Somebody said, what is 3? And it's pretty much the only answer I see so far. Come on, y'all. Let me see what y'all think. Okay, let's see if maybe is correct. And the correct answer is, what is 3? Is that so good? Good job. Maybe 1103. Lung compliance is the property of the lung that allows it to stretch and recoil. So both appropriate stretch and recoil are necessary for proper lung function. Thus, compliance that is too high or too low can negatively affect the function. Emphysema increases lung compliance due to the damaged lung tissue. In this condition, the lung will be able to inflate, but the recoil is delayed. Thus, exhalation is impaired. Asthma and bronchitis may be associated with some increase in lung compliance. However, this is less likely with these conditions. These conditions typically demonstrate reduced lung function due to the inflammation or airway obstructions as opposed to the damaged alveoli. Okay, the lung cancer usually usually causes a decrease in lung compliance due to the presence of more fibrotic tissue, which makes the lungs more stiffer, so they're not able to recoil, and it's harder to inflate. So remember, lung compliance is the property of the lung that allows the lungs to both stretch and recoil. So they have to expand, inflate, and the harder it is to do so, whether it's the lung compliance is too high or too low, is what's going to affect that. So the answer, once again, is what is 3, which is emphysema. Okay, emphysema increases lung compliance due to the damaged lung tissue. All right, in this condition, the lung will be able to inflate, but the recoil is damaged. All right. Remember, it was asking us for what conditions would exhibit an increase in lung compliance, which is why the answer was 3, emphysema. So, good job, guys. All right, now let's do a math question. Now, this one requires that you know your equations, I guess you can say. All right, so this one is convert 21.4 degrees Celsius into degrees Fahrenheit. Convert 21 21.4 degrees Celsius into degrees Fahrenheit? Is it 1, 70.52 degrees Fahrenheit? Is it 2, 58.14 degrees Fahrenheit? Is it 3, 61.56 degrees Fahrenheit? Or is it 4, 66.92 degrees Fahrenheit? What is 21.4 degrees Celsius converted into Fahrenheit? What is it? You guys know the formula. Make sure you know the formula. If you don't know it, go ahead and write it down. Look it up real quick. Write it down. Look it up and write it down. Okay. All right. So let me see. All right. I'm not seeing any answers, guys. Let me see. Go ahead and guess. Convert 21.4 degrees Celsius into degrees Fahrenheit. Is it 1, 70.52 degrees Fahrenheit? 2, 58.4, 3, 61.56, or 4, 66.92. All right, someone says, what is 3? Oh, wait, no, she changed it to 1. 70.5. All right, so I'm getting basically 2 people are saying it's 1, which it is 1, so great job. It is 70.52 degrees Fahrenheit. So step 1, guys, we're trying to determine the formula to use. So we're going from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So the following formula is what we're going to use. It's going to be Celsius times 1.8 plus 32 equals degrees Fahrenheit. All right. So since we have our degrees Celsius, which was 21.4, we're going to multiply that by 1.8, add 32. That's going to be 38.52 plus that 32, which is going to give us 70.52 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so once again, note this formula for going from Celsius to Fahrenheit. It's the degrees Celsius times 1.8 in parentheses plus, close parentheses, plus 32. All right, so inside parentheses, you have the degrees Celsius times 1.8, close parentheses, plus 32. And that's going to give you the degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So once again, the answer to this one, we were converting 21.4 degrees Celsius into an unknown degree Fahrenheit. The answer was, what is 70.52 degrees Fahrenheit? Good job. All right, let me look. Awesome job. Great job. Okay, now let's do another. Okay. As air is inhaled, the sequence in which it passes through the respiratory tract is best described by which of the following choices? 1, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. Is it 2, nasal cavity, trachea, pharynx, larynx, bronchioles, bronchi? Is it 3, nasal cavity, bronchi, bronchioles, trachea, pharynx, and larynx? Or is it number 4, pharynx, nasal cavity, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles? What is the correct sequence in which air is inhaled and it passes through the respiratory tract? What is that correct sequence of air as it travels through the respiratory tract as it is inhaled? Is it 1, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles? Is it 2, nasal cavity, trachea, pharynx, larynx, bronchioles, bronchi? Or is it number 3, nasal cavity, bronchi, bronchioles, trachea, pharynx, and larynx? Or 4, pharynx, nasal cavity, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles? Once again, if you guys are more of a visual learner, you need to see visually these questions in front of you. download the Nurse Sam app so you can play the mobile version of this ATI TEAS Jeopardy. All right, once again, completely free, but you can actually visually see and be able to choose it on your phone. Just a mobile game version. So I'm seeing people say 1, which is nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. And that is the correct answer. So great job, Miss Georgie, Ashen, and Mara Aim. Great job. All right, it says when inhaling, air is taken in through the mouth and nose and then through the larynx and the pharynx. These passages warm the air and prepare it for gas exchange. The air continues on through the trachea, commonly referred to as the windpipe. The trachea then splits into a right and left bronchi, with each side dividing further into smaller bronchioles. While some bronchioles may directly be involved in gas exchange, the majority of them are part of the conducting airway, which simply moves air through the respiratory system to get them to the alveoli, where most of the gas exchange occurs. Okay? All right, so a couple things I want you to take away from that, because it can be asked in different questions. The main thing I want you to take away is that when air is taken in, it's warmed in order to prepare it for gas exchange. And I also want you guys to know where gas exchange takes place. So type it right now in the comments where gas exchange occurs. I want you to type it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know on how many countless tests, whenever there's like a question about gas exchange, for some reason the last 2 choices are always like to confuse you, alveoli and bronchioles for some reason. Just know that alveoli is the site where the gas exchange occurs. And even though bronchioles may be involved in gas exchange, alveoli is where it occurs. Okay, so they love to throw that in there. I'm not sure why. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that specific question or some kind of variation of that question and just have like alveoli, bronchioles, and gas exchange. It's some those things. But as long as you know that gas exchange, alveoli is where most of the gas exchange occurs. So that's what I want you to take away. Okay, so awesome. And alveoli, does that remind you of raviolis here? Like whenever I see the word alveoli, gas exchange, like in my mind I'm thinking, okay, gas exchange takes place where the ravioli takes place. And that's in my mind, that's how I always remember. Alveoli, give me the ravioli. Do y'all remember that episode of SpongeBob? When he was like, ravioli, give me the formuloni, something like that. But yeah, I think of ravioli when I think of alveoli, which is where gas exchange takes place. Thank you, lovely Juliana, for not making me feel crazy. All right, so next question. Okay, let's do this one. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's do this one. The head of pediatrics blanks 4 children of her own. Which of the following options completes the sentence above? Is it 1, has had? Is it 2, have? Is it 3, has? Or is it 4, will have? So let me read the sentence again. The head of pediatrics blanks 4 children of her own. Okay, so we're gonna plug it in and see which one sounds better. The head of pediatrics has had 4 children of her own. The head of pediatrics have 4 children of her own. The head of pediatrics has 4 children of her own. And number 4 is the head of pediatrics will have 4 children of her own. Which of the following options completes the sentence above? The head of pediatrics has had 4 children of her own. The head of pediatrics have 4 children of her own. The head of pediatrics has 4 children of her own, the head of pediatrics will have 4 children of her own. I got a 1 and I got a 3, and then I got another 3. So let's see. 3 is has. So the head of pediatrics has 4 children of her own. So the answer is 3. What is 3? Which is has. The head of pediatrics has 4 children of her own. It says has is correct because the subject is the head of pediatrics, not pediatrics. Okay, head is a singular, and it is in the present tense. Okay, so we know that, especially because of the present tense, this person has, the head of pediatrics has 4 children of her own. What is a lot of you, some of you guys said 1, which was has had. The head of pediatrics has had 4 children of her own, but because it is in the present tense and has had makes it seem like past tense. That's why 1 is wrong. Let me see what y'all saying. Oh, it was like, oh yeah, number 3. Okay, cool. So we're all on the same page as far as it being 3. Okay. Next question. I don't know. What about this one? Nope. This one. Okay, this one's an English question for 500. Now, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read the question, and then I'm gonna read the passage, because it's an English question, and sometimes you have to read the question before you read the whole package, the whole passage, so you know what you're really looking for. Okay, so here it says, what is the author's tone in this passage? Is it 1, regretful, 2, indignant, 3, objective, or 4, nostalgic? Okay, now I'm gonna read the passage. It says, the school, located atop one of the highest and most beautiful mountains of the area, witnessed snowy and long winters. During the cold days, all pupils, including myself, carried a couple of hot baked potatoes in our pockets and into the freezing classrooms. This way, we could keep ourselves warm in the morning and then have a delicious and ready-to-eat snack at noon. Modern heating has its advantages, but I have yet to find something that tastes as good and comforting as those potatoes did. What is the author's tone in this passage? Is it 1, regretful? Is it indignant? Is it objective? Or is it nostalgic? What is the author's tone as he is talking about these potatoes? All right, everyone's saying nostalgic. Everyone's saying nostalgic. Let's see. All right, and it is what is for. This young man is nostalgic about these potatoes, okay? It says, a nostalgic tone expresses a sentimental yearning for a return to or of some past period or irrecoverable condition. This person, he wants that old thing back. He wants them old potatoes back, period, okay? So yes, the tone of this passage was very nostalgic, especially because that last line, it said, modern heating has its advantages, but I have yet to find something that tastes as good and comforting as those potatoes did. That's the line that let us know that the tone of this author is nostalgic, okay? So great job. Now, all right, let's go into math. I know. But we got to do it, okay? So, go ahead and get your papers and your pencils and your pens, your scrap papers. I'm going to read it to you, okay? All right, the scale on a blueprint for a house is 1.2 inches equals 6 yards. if one side of the house is 15 inches long on the blueprint, what is the actual length of the side of the house? Okay. Is it 1, 75 inches, 2, 75 yards, 3, 324 inches, or 4, 324 yards? Once again, the scale on a blueprint for a house is 1.2 inches equals 6 yards. If one side of the house is 15 inches long on the blueprint, what is the actual length of the side of the house? Okay. This is a proportionate question. All right. Now, please note that in the answers, they're giving you like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are the same numbers. 1 and 2, 75, 75. 3 and 4, 324, 324. But the units of measurement are different. 1 and 2, even though they're both 75, one's measured at 75 inches and 2 is 75 yards. Remember, this is a scale, all right? So we're scaling what's on the map to what's the actual length. So the actual length of the blueprint is going to be measured in inches because it's smaller. Obviously, we're scaling it. So every 1.2 inches of the blueprint is 6 yards in real life on the house. So if it is saying what is the actual length of the side of the house, would you be looking for an answer with a unit of inches or yards? If you're just because you're looking for the actual length of the big house, you're not looking for the scale of the blueprint. You're looking for what the actual measurement's going to be at the side of the house. So right off the bat, we should be able to eliminate either inches or yards just based on that question. Okay, so let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, so once again, the scale on a blueprint for a house is 1.2 inches per 6 yards. All right, and so if one side of the house is 15 inches long, what is the actual length of the side of the house? Is it 75 inches, 75 yards, 324 inches, or 324 yards? Okay. Can we, as a group, can we just based off that last thing I said about the actual length of the house and the units of measurement, can we go ahead and agree that inches, we can get rid of inches? Because remember, 1 is 75 inches, 2 is 75 yards, 3 is 324 inches, and then 4 is 324 yards. So if we have a scale from a blueprint to a house, obviously the blueprint's going to be in the smaller units of measurement, which is going to be the inches, and then the house is going to be measured in yards. So if the actual question is asking us for the actual length of the side of the house, we can go ahead and eliminate any of the chances, any of the answer choices that are expressed in inches. So 1 and 3, we can take them out, because I don't know what house y'all moving in that's 75 inches on one side, but this is not Tiny House America, okay? Okay, absolutely not. So yes, we are going to be measuring that in yards, okay? So that automatically leaves us with either options 2 or 4. 2 is 75 yards, and 2 is 75 yards, and 4 is 324 yards. So now we can just set up our proportion and kind of just do it that way. The correct answer is 75 yards, which is number 2. I'm gonna show you how we get that. So once again, remember, this is proportion. So we need to first, I guess set up our scale as a ratio. We already know that 1.2 inches is going to yield 6 yards in regard to the scale. So now we can use that information and kind of set up a proportionate equation. So if we know that 1.2 inches over 6 yards equals 15 inches over X yards, we can find X, which is going to be the actual length. So cross multiply, just like they did in Mean Girls when she was trying to find the percentage of the carbs from fat. You want to cross multiply that 1.2 over 6 equals 15 inches over X yards. That becomes 1.2 X equals 90 Y. Divide each side by 1.2. 90 divided by 1.2 is 75. All right, so X equals 75 yards. So once again, we just set up a proportionate, we set up a like a dimensional analysis. Remember, we have our 1.2 inches over our 6 yards, and that's going to give us our proportionate 15 inches over X yards. Cross multiply, that X gives us 75 yards. Okay, so the actual length of the side of the house is 75 yards, which is number 2. Yes, this will be posted in the IGTVs. All right, guys. Let me see who got that. Who did that? Good job, Marilyn. Awesome job. Hey, Tarpy Matt. All right, guys. Let's do another one. All right, guys, let me make sure y'all paying attention. Make sure y'all paying attention, all right? In the respiratory system, the majority of gas exchange takes place where? 1, in the bronchioles. 2, in the bronchi, 3, in the alveoli, or 4, in the trachea. Didn't I just tell y'all that this question comes up all the time? Didn't I just tell y'all? I didn't make this up. I told you. All right, once again, in the respiratory system, the majority of gas exchange takes place where? Is it 1, in the bronchioles, 2, in the bronchi, 3, in the alveoli, or 4, in the trachea? Let me see if y'all remember. Yep, she remembers. Ashanasia remembers. Asia Bella remembers. Brittany remembers. Anybody else remember? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Go ahead and just type it. Just type it. You'll feel so much better once you do. I'm telling you. You'll be like, you know, I do know this answer. In the respiratory system, the majority of gas exchange takes place in the alveoli, just like we said a couple questions ago. Okay, so remember, we had a couple questions that took us through the sequence in which air moves throughout the respiratory system. And at the end of that question, I said what usually comes right around this time is people asking, or is the test asking us and making sure that we know where the majority of gas exchange takes place. I said it, and a couple questions later it came right up. I'm trying to tell you. All right, so the answer is alveoli. All right, please make a note of that and do not forget it. This is case in point of how it will come up. All right, so once again, in the respiratory system, the majority of gas exchange takes place in the alveoli. Now, while some bronchioles may be directly involved in gas exchange, the majority of them are part of the conducting airway, which simply just moves air through the respiratory system to get them to the alveoli, which is where gas exchange occurs. Okay, so awesome job, guys, and remembering that, please do so forever. All right, one more. All right, now this is a reading question. Now, for this one, once again, I'm going to read the answer choices, and then I'm going to read the passage so you guys can get a little bit more context. All right, so this one is reading for 300 points. It says, which event came last in the sequence? All right, so is it 1, they realized that their extended families would not be in attendance? 2, they started coming up with alternative solutions? 3, they ended up postponing their wedding for a year? Or 4, they began to go through their available options? Which event came last in the sequence? I'm going to read the sequence. All right. It says, planning a wedding is time-consuming and exhausting. Very true. Although it originally felt like the wrong decision, we ultimately decided to postpone our wedding until next year so that all of our relatives could be there. When we first found out that our extended family members wouldn't be able to join us from overseas, we immediately started evaluating our options and then thinking of backup plans. Which event came last in the sequence? Is it 1, they realized that their extended families would not be in attendance? 2, they started coming up with alternative solutions? 3, they ended up postponing their wedding for a year? Or 4, they began to go through their available options? Which event came last in the sequence? Jayla says that was postponed, which was, that one's answer 3. Anybody else? Mabe says, what is 3 as well? Aisha says 3. And guess what, guys? It is 3. Look at y'all. What is 3? It says they ended up postponing their wedding for a year. This is correct since this last event in the sequence is signaled by the word ultimately. The word although also shows that even though it felt wrong at first, they ultimately did it. So once again, the event that came last in the sequence is that they ended up postponing their wedding for a year. So congratulations. Great job, Aisha, Mabe, and Jayla. Awesome job. All right, guys. Once again, if you are just coming in, we are doing Teas Tuesday. This is our ATI entrance exam review game. If you download the NurseSam app for free, you can play the rest of these questions. We have been wonderfully sponsored by Nurse Hub for this week's episode, and you can make sure you go and follow them at Nurse Hub and check out the website nursehub.com so you can look at all of the resources that they have to better equip and prepare you to take and pass your TEAS. Okay, so it doesn't matter if this is your first time taking the TEAS, or if you're taking HESI, or if you now have to go back and retake an entrance exam. Sometimes when you go back to school after a certain amount of time, you have to retake those comprehensive exams. So Nurse Hub is a wonderful resource for being able to not only just get your actual study questions, but to formulate a study plan, get all the resources you need, and about the TEAS, about the HESI, so that you know not only how to take the test, but you know exactly how it's structured. So make sure you check out nursehub.com and you download the NurseSam app to play the rest of tonight's questions. If you want to play the rest of the 20 questions that were sponsored by Nurse Hub, make sure you download that app to finish playing, okay? Now we're going to get through one more question. Okay. All right. Next question. This one is a math question. All right. Jonah buys 42 packs of breath mints, each containing 18 mints. How many breath mints did Jonah buy? Is it 1, 747, 2, 756, 3, 784, or 4, 720? How many breath mints did Jonah buy? Jonah bought 42 packs of breath mints that each contained 18 breath mints. Jonah, you may need to see a dentist, love, but maybe it's just a habit. Maybe you just like breath mints. But if you need 42 packs of breath mints, you need a brush and call a dentist. All right, so guys, let's try to figure out poor Jonah and his dental issues, okay? Let's make sure that Jonah just likes the taste of that juicy fruit and doesn't need it, okay? So Jonah bought 42 packs of juicy fruit gum, and each contained 18 mints. So how many breath mints did Jonah buy? Obviously, we're gonna have to do some multiplication, all right? So long story short, finding that out would be just to multiply the number of packs that Jonah bought multiplied by how many mints were contained in each of the containers. So if each container contained 18 mints and he bought 42 containers. 42 times 18. What is that going to be? Okay, so H is 2. So once again, the numbers are 747, 756, 784, or 720. This says the answer is, and I got somebody else that says, what is 2, which is 756. All right, so once again, we're multiplying the total number of packs times the total number of mints per pack. 18 times that 42, and that's going to give us 756. Really simple and easy, kind of straightforward. The only thing that people would struggle with for this isn't necessarily that it's not straightforward, because 18 times 42, or knowing that you have to do that to get the answer, is pretty straightforward. However, some people struggle with like long division or multiplying numbers that aren't like 10 times 7 or 5, like common numbers. So if you didn't know how to do the 1842 either really quite quick in your mind, or you just don't want to do the long way and just set it up 18 times 42, just kind of long division, long multiply it. You may have to do that too. So the way that they did it was long division, just the 42 times the 18, and then you kind of just literally carry the 1 and kind of just do it like that, and then you get 756. Other people do it other ways, where they're like doing derivatives of whatever number it is. Like for 18, 18 is like 19 and 2, and then 42 is like 7 and 6. So they I don't know, it's weird. But no, my main takeaway is that for math problems, a lot of people will struggle because they think that if they don't get the answer the same way that somebody else got the answer, it's wrong. That's really the beauty behind math. There's all these different routes that you can take to get to that same answer, and one way may not be more correct than the other. It's just one way the way Mary did it, and one way is the way Sam did it. But as long as we came up to 756, I'm good. Okay, so all right, so that is it for our math questions. Now, if you guys want to play the rest, we have about 10 more. You have about 10 more questions that you can play here. Like a healthy mix of math, English, reading, and science. If you want to play the rest of those 10 questions, please go and download the Nurse Sam app. It is completely free. And then go to TEAS Prep and download and play that TEAS Tuesday Prep mobile game, okay? So once again, this TEAS Tuesday has been sponsored by Nurse Hub, nursehub.com. Make sure you guys check them out. One of the amazing resources for everything TEAS, HESI Prep, to make sure you guys are as prepared as possible for applying to nursing school and getting into nursing school. Because as you know, you have to get a good score and a passing score per your program on whatever appointed practice test that your program accepts. You have to get a good score in that in order to be accepted into your nursing program. So, I'll argue as far as which one's quote unquote more important as far as NCLEX versus ATI and TEAS. You have to pass the ATI, the entrance exam, in order to enter nursing school, in order to be able to sit for your NCLEX. So as far as which one's more tough, once again, it's relative. Just know that both are very important tests that you need to do your absolute best on. And Nurse Hub and Nurse Sam, we have resources so that you are prepared for either test, in either situation, either way, okay? So make sure you check out nursesam.com, nursehub.com. Download the Nurse Sam app to play the rest of the TEAS Tuesday games. Once again, our episode tonight was sponsored by Nurse Hub. Thank you so much, Nurse Hub. If you guys want to watch the rest of this episode, You guys can go ahead and replay this on IGTV. And if you want to play the rest of the questions from tonight's Teas Tuesday, you can go and play the rest on the mobile app for Nurse Sam under Teas Tuesday Prep. Okay? All right, guys. Thank ya. I will see you. No, not Thursday, because it's Thanksgiving. But I will see you next week for our second round of Nurse Hub sponsored Teas Tuesday. All right. Thank you, guys.